guys, Ron here, and there are a bunch of Pokemon with iconic stat distributions, like the monumental defense of Shuckle to the crazy low HP of a Shedinja. Well, what if I flipped the stats of a few Pokemon so that their low stats were high, and their high stats were low? Pokemon like Mudsdale, who has high attack and low speed, would end up with low attack and high speed, but I'm not going to stop there. I'm going to redesign these Pokemon to reflect these inverse stats. Rhyperior would be stripped of his defenses, so that armor will be deleted, and Pyukumuku will end up having insane speed, so perhaps I'll give him legs. The possibilities are endless, so please, if you want to see a part 2, leave a like and subscribe. But before we begin, check out these new shirts I got from today's sponsor, Into the AM. Into the AM is your first stop for shirts, hoodies, graphic tees, and more with unique and out-of-this-world designs. If you're a longtime TrueGreen7 viewer, then you must appreciate good art, so I'm sure you wouldn't mind as I show off these awesome shirts from Into the AM. I know you're begging for a colorful overflow tee like this. Maybe you're in the mood for some serene heights, or perhaps you want a subtle, relaxed button-up in your favorite color. You know I had to cop this green leaf pattern. After going through so many shirts in my day, I'm flabbergasted by how well these fit and how good they feel. The material is premium for a fraction of the price, and now is the perfect time to get a hold of your favorite Into the AM apparel for yourself and someone you love, because Into the AM's Black Friday and Cyber Monday sales are monumental, with up to 60% off their merch. That's their biggest sale of the year. So click the link in the description or go to intotheam.com/TrueGreen7 for an additional 10% off on the house. They're practically free at this point, so it doesn't hurt to browse their website right after this video. But how about we begin with a Pokemon with some of the most extreme stat disparity around. Blissey has the highest HP with some of the lowest attack and defense, almost average special attack, above average special defense, and relatively low speed. So what would an inverse Blissey stats look like? Well, first I'm going to have to describe how I'm calculating those opposite stats. Since most Pokemon don't have a huge ratio between stats, I'm not going to simply swap the Pokemon's highest and lowest stats. Instead, I'm going to compare each stat to the average stat of all fully evolved Pokemon. So for example, if a Pokemon has 55 speed and the average speed of a fully evolved Pokemon is 78, that means it has 23 less speed than the average. So in order to give us the inverse speed, we'll just have to give it 23 more speed than the average, which is 101. Now Blissey has 255 HP, while the average HP stat is 80. If I were to do the same math to determine its new HP, it would be negative 95. Since that's impossible, we're just gonna cap it at the lowest HP stat a Pokemon has ever been given, which is 1 in this case. So with Blissey's new stats, you'll notice it has 1 HP, very high attack and defense, good special attack, incredibly low special defense, and high speed. So check out how I'm going to design a physically offensive Blissey. We're basically taking Blissey and making it a magical girl with sharp spikes. That's where its high defense comes from, all the stuff that will poke you if you attack. Her curls will become these sharp horns that it uses to attack. Now it needs long legs in order to run way faster than it currently does. Originally I went in the bunny leg direction before landing in a long, sharp, needle-like leg, I guess. It makes sense with the spiky magical girl aesthetic, and since it will have 1 HP, I needed to give it a halo that indicates its Wonder Guard. It makes even more sense since it kinda has Shedinja's wing-like spikes as well. Check out Inverse Blissey, the harsh Pokemon, a fighting type with the ability Wonder Guard. This Pokemon only wishes to protect its egg. It does not let anyone near it and will attack when approached. It headbutts with its horns and impales opponents with its sharp and muscular legs. Its maternal instincts are reserved for its egg. It does not show compassion for those it injures, but its will to fight is extinguished if harm comes to its fragile egg. It completely gives up when it has no egg to fight for. I think I found a way to make it make sense as to why it gets knocked out after 1 HP. I know it makes no sense for a Pokemon to have defense but no HP, but I think a creature that has defensive spikes and bulk, but such a glaring and fragile flaw on the front of its belly makes total sense to be done after 1 hit. It simply doesn't want to fight once its egg is damaged. Now I don't want to reserve this challenge to Pokemon who have the most extreme stats in the Pokedex. Greedent has clear strengths and weaknesses. Its HP is great, its attack and defense is good, its special attack is low, its special defense ain't bad, and its speed is incredibly low. So what if we made a super intelligent Greedent with high speed and special attack? Greedent is a perfect Pokemon to translate into a slender, bearded guru, since it already has fur that looks like a mustache and beard, basically growing its facial hair while taking away all of its fat, and even increasing its cranium to show that it is a skinny and smart squirrel. The lighter brown around its eyes will even spread to its forehead with a pattern that mimics a third eye. It's floating a bit as it balances on its long tail. Behold, Inverse Greedent, the generous Pokemon, a normal psychic type with the abilities Contrary and Telepathy. This Greedent is one of the most intelligent Pokemon in the wild. After resisting its urge to feed, it has gained clairvoyance and now empathizes with others. It shares the food it finds. It watches its surroundings while balancing on its tail. Greedent's hunger has unlocked a higher stage of being. It is now greedy for knowledge. Its brain can process thoughts as fast as a computer. In battle, it acts without hesitation. I think we're on a roll with choosing Pokemon who basically have a complete change in personality when their stats are flipped, not just design-wise, and so far they make total sense lore-wise too. You may not have expected Gardevoir to be here, unless I end up putting it in the thumbnail, but it does clearly excel in some stats while ignoring the others, like most regional psychic types do. Its HP is below average like its attack and defense. Its high special attack, special defense, and average speed make up for it. It's the definition of Psychic Fairy, but what if the new stats warranted a type change? It will get decent HP, great attack and defense, super low special attack and special defense, and will remain with average speed. Keep in mind Gardevoir is already protective, so maybe these new stats fulfill its concept to the max. So what if Gardevoir's horn hair looked even more like a Spartan helmet protecting its face? I want to make an armored Gardevoir with a bulky metallic chest that looks like the breastplate an ancient soldier would wear. The problem I was originally running into was that while designing a physically offensive Gardevoir, you naturally tend to go in the direction of a Gallade, so in order to separate itself, I tried to make it more feminine. But Gardevoir is generally quite slender, and I had no ideas for the arms if I couldn't make them blades like Gallade. That's when I decided to make it skinnier and turn its hand giant and slim, so that when it combines its arms, they protect their body like a shield. I gave it a belly pattern to enhance its ballerina origins. For the same reason, the final design has patterns on the leg that look like the straps of a ballerina's shoes and a Spartan's sandals. Here is Inverse Gardevoir, the Resistance Pokemon, a Psychic Steel type with the abilities Synchronize, Battle Armor, and Moxie. This form of Gardevoir are internally bonded with their trainers and will proactively go after those that they believe pose a threat to their trainer. They will wrap their flexible yet dense arms around those they wish to protect. They utilize all limbs in battle. They spin and twirl around the battlefield, chopping and kicking their opponent. I thought that exaggerating a side of one of these Pokemon instead of flipping their personality would be fun for a change. It would have easily been what a Mega Gardevoir looked like if it leaned into a physical direction, although its stats would say otherwise, honestly. Absol suffers from a few below average stats, so a stat swap will help beef it up a bit more. Right now, the Disaster Pokemon has slightly below average HP, defense, special attack, special defense, with near average speed and only really excelling in attack. It's pretty high. Too bad it'll lose that in favor of more bulk. Our inverse Absol will have more HP than average, very low attack, but a great defense stat, good special attack stat, okay special defense, and slightly more speed. How about we cook up a design that reflects these changes? So what if an Absol had way more fur to absorb hits with, but had no claws or scythe on its head, since it's no longer a physical attacker? Instead, it has spiky fur to heighten its defenses, like super sharp fur, slightly smaller legs to emphasize its slightly higher speed. It's based on a Chinese mythological creature that had a third eye and even eyes on its body, so adding more of Absol's round jewel-like protrusions would also make it look more defensive as well. Darker colors fit this grungier look. It no longer really warns humans of disasters that it senses, so it won't have a yin-yang motif or a majority white fur. It is morally gray now. Here is Inverse Absol, the Disaster Pokemon, a dark type with the abilities Pressure and Rough Skin. This Pokemon is covered with sharp quill-like fur that stands up when it senses danger. It does not care about humans and stays away from human settlements. Humans have been hunting this Pokemon for centuries to acquire its disaster-sensing fur. It is quite light on its feet and attacks by shooting its quills. I find it sad that technically this Pokemon can't physically comfort any family or friends during troubling times, since its quills would be at their most sharp during a disaster. And something is actually quite eerie about an Inverse Absol still being the Disaster Pokemon. Since Absol is already a contradiction and totally misunderstood, then it's scary to think that Absol can't escape its fate even in this form. It will always have a sad life, at least in this video. Let me know what kind of video concept we can come up with so we can have an excuse to make a version of Absol that has a good life. Pheromosa is a Pokemon with underratedly wild stats. Its offensive stats are legendary, while its defenses are disgustingly low. It's super fast, but its HP is not the worst. When we inverse her stats, we get stout Pheromosa with good HP and amazing defenses, but not so good attack and special defense, and what is basically among the slowest Pokemon in the game. It's also the first one here whose base stat total is drastically nerfed to the point that I'm making a Pheromosa Prevo. Not necessarily though, since it's still a Pheromosa, so how about a younger one, basically? By now you understand that the designs themselves aren't inverses. That would be a completely different video or concept. We really are just swapping the stats, and for some of the designs, their look won't change much. That's why for this one, we're basically making a younger Pheromosa, a short princess who isn't ready to attack yet. I want to make it look like a girl who's trying on heels for the first time, and hasn't exactly mastered the walk yet. Its wing-like hair looks more protective in this design too, like it's wrapping around its body, fully protecting it from behind. Pheromosa's colors already make it look like a newly molted cockroach, so I decided to keep its colors basically white. Say hi to Inverse Pheromosa, the sturdy Pokemon, a bug type with the ability Beast Boost. These Pheromosa take a longer time to mature. They stay in a pseudo-pupal form where they are relatively motionless. They have not gotten a hold of walking on their toes. Their hide is thick and heavy, and they wobble as they walk. They prefer to stay elegantly still, so as to not embarrass themselves. As their body is exposed to the particulates in the ultra-desert's atmosphere, their body shifts from silver to gold and becomes softer. They are not yet confident in their abilities. This humble form of Pheromosa prefers to make friends, as they have no way to fight back against enemies. When under attack, Pheromosa stands firm and hopes that their enemy soon lets up, as their exoskeleton absorbs all the hits. And finally, let's take a look at Shuckle and make the inverse Shuckle you've all been waiting for years. This barnacle, endolith, turtle, mold, berry blender is infamous for its breathtaking defense and special defense, while boasting among the lowest HP, attack, special attack, and speed in the game. Naturally, inverse Shuckle would have amazing HP, legendary attack, devastating defense, crazy high special attack, super low special defense, and blindingly fast speed. I hope you can handle what we're about to make. So what if Shuckle stood up and had a shell on both arms that it could use as both a boxing glove and a blaster or mega buster, whatever you call it, basically showcasing his physical and special attack prowess. Behold, Inverse Shuckle, the bold Pokemon, a rock fighting type with the abilities Iron Fist, Mega Launcher, and No Guard. This legendary Pokemon moves fast and hits hard. It mixes berries that it ferments in its fists and drinks the juice it creates to boost its performance. It launches its juice with astonishing accuracy and punches its foes with rock-hard fists. Its slender and slippery body allows it to dodge and weave around the battlefield. However, its body is so tender and frail that a blow to Shuckle's gut can be devastating. It has a signature move called Berry Blast, a 100 base power special move that changes type depending on the berry Shuckle is holding. It's a normal type without any berries held. Kinda one of my favorite creations, honestly. And if you agree, leave a like and subscribe to see a part 2. Check out my other Fakemon creation videos, and check the description for the music I used, the t-shirts I made for you guys, and consider becoming a patron or clicking the join button to get cool rewards like seeing my videos days early, and a huge discount on the t-shirts I made for you guys. Why did I say that twice? Follow me on Twitter, where I post sneak peeks and final art of these Pokemon too. Bye!